The difference between amateurs and professionals is simply a matter of process and dedication. Do you have a side passion that you'd love to spend more time on? Or do you feel like life is getting in the way of it? Have you ever felt like you're waiting to find something that's your real true calling? Or is there something that you've always loved that you want to be your main job one day, but you're waiting for a certain amount of success first or something else before you finally get round to it? Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between amateurs and hobbyists versus professionals and how you can create your calling instead of waiting for it to happen. Welcome to the Growth Mindset Podcast. Our quote of the day today is going to be a bit of a long one, but it's going to get you fired up. Many growth-minded people didn't even plan to go to the top. They got there as a result of doing what they love. It's ironic. The top is where the fixed mindset people hunger to be, but it's where many growth-minded people arrive as a byproduct of their enthusiasm for what they do. Yes, what you do is really important, and that is exactly what we're going into today, and how to make what you do the thing that you love. Now, let me start this correctly. I hate the whole find your calling stuff because there is so much crap around it. It creates this false illusion that there is an easy thing out there for you that's going to be crazy enjoyable. You're going to be crying with happiness every single moment of your life. Nothing you do will ever feel like work to you because it's bollocks. The worst part about this illusion is that it makes it sound like we won't even need to work hard or take any risks to get there. It is simply a lie. A signed job contract means that you will show up a certain number of days a week for a certain number of hours, and this is your profession. For a side project to give you any rewards, you have to show up at a fixed regular commitment. If you're writing, podcasting, gardening, music, you have to keep up the work. To succeed in something, the commitment is no longer a question, you have to do it. And it's actually, it's not that bad. For example, for podcasting, you don't have to work every day or even every week. You could do seasons with long breaks in between, or you could publish once a month. The schedule is up to you, but you have to commit to it. An excerpt I really love from Seth Godin is, "Creativity is the result of desire to find a new truth, solve an old problem, or to serve someone. Process saves us from the poverty of our intentions." You can't always do much about how you feel, particularly when it's something important, but you can always control your actions. Your work is too important to be left to how you feel today. If you condition yourself to work without flow, it's more likely to arrive. The strategy of seeking your calling creates a very easy place for you to hide from doing the actual hard work that is needed to create your calling. It's only after we do the difficult work that it becomes our calling. Only after we trust the process does it become our passion. Do what you love is for amateurs. Love what you do is for professionals. Something I really want you to take away from this podcast is the words, "when I feel like it," those words mean never. And whenever you hear yourself saying it or someone else saying it, I want you to hear that as a red flag to it's something that's just not enough of a priority that'll ever get round to happening. So doing things when you feel like it without the pressure is a lovely idea in principle, but be warned that time inevitably goes much faster than you expect. When people stop taking music lessons, they'll often promise themselves they'll still find time to play. "I'll do it when I get the time," or "when I just feel like it," and years later, the instrument will lie hardly touched at the back of a room somewhere or in an attic, and waiting for your fancy to take you somewhere is like waiting for muscles to appear without going to the gym. It doesn't happen. Finding time for something is not done for you. No one will find time for you. If you are too busy this week, next week, someone isn't going to magically create some time to make you do the thing you want to do. The only person that will do it is you. Everyone else in the world will be using your time for something other than the thing you want to do. So you have to ignore whatever the world is telling you to do that thing. So as an example, I'll talk about my writing, which has very much been a hobby for me for the last 7 months. It's something I really enjoy doing. And this episode is actually based on an article in my newsletter. And writing has been a retreat for me from the chaos of my ADHD and many overwhelming things happening. And it's been lovely, but I've only done it when I've found the time. And thus my newsletter has some interesting statistics. So I published 15 blogs, and I managed to complete another 5, but didn't publish them because I thought they'd be part of a series. However, I have 24 articles that are almost ready. I have 19 that are in progress. I have 22 that are in a basic outline. And then I have another 27 that were not started, and another 29 that don't even have a status. And basically I have over 130 articles at different levels of finished, which are all it would be great to write these sometimes. I think these are amazing ideas, but they lie unloved in my Notion, and I would be a much wiser person and I'd be a more prolific person if I was publishing them. The thing I've struggled with is no one makes me do it, or there isn't a submission date, or no one will prioritize it for me over my other work. But I have concluded that writing is something that shouldn't be in my fun hobby pile. The rewards for me are personally really great, but that just hasn't been enough for me yet to go and do it regularly unless I decide to make a real commitment and prioritize this as part of my week. I have to treat it professionally. I'll never become a writer waiting for this to happen. On the flip side, I am a podcaster. I've been doing this regularly, week in, week out, sometimes 2 episodes a week for 5 years. But I actually am now going in the other direction, in that I'm maybe considering producing less episodes, perhaps less than once a week, because for the last 2 years, I've been depending on editors to help me get content out there quickly. But the quality that they've been putting out in the episodes doesn't match what I want it to be, because I think as a podcaster, you're as good as your last episode. And I have a backlog of some episodes that I'm not that proud of anymore, which when I was editing myself did not happen. And as an editor, it's going to be my duty to make everything truly brilliant. And I love crafting things to the level of brilliance, but it's not super easy and it's going to take me a bit of time, but I'd rather have it come out like every 2 weeks and reduce the output that I'm doing, but keep it truly professional, because I feel like actually, though I've had consistent output, it's felt more like a hobby because I haven't made it truly brilliant. So there's a mix of how much you do something to keep it professional, as well as how regularly and how much thought goes into how good the thing is that you're doing. So when I started the podcast, for the first year, it grew like crazy because I was editing everything. And then because it got so big, I was making enough money to pay people to do it, and it didn't make money above that, but it kept at the same level. But then it stopped growing because it wasn't as brilliant as it could have been. And that's totally my own fault. And so I'm now making a commitment to also become more professional as a podcaster again, because it's something I really love doing, and I'd love to do it more and have the show grow again, because it's been okay. I'm going to make it brilliant. And that's my commitment to you as listeners. So thank you for listening. Back to you making shit happen. Another excerpt from Seth Godin, who is a brilliant writer, is this: the easiest way to go through life is to let life go through you. Give in to the prevailing winds and go along to get along. This requires very little effort because you're not working with intent, at least not your own intent. You are getting by. A sailboat goes slowest when it's going downwind. That's because the sail acts as a parachute, meaning the boat can't go any faster than the wind behind it. Sailboats, however, are optimized to go across the wind. And if you aren't into sailing, you might not realize this analogy, but boats move way faster when they go across the wind. And if they're going with the wind, they only move slower than the current wind speed. And the point is, we as people only make a difference in the world when we seek to make a difference. It doesn't happen by waiting for it. If you spend all day hitting a ball back, you'll never end up being the one serving the ball. Responding or reacting to incoming asks becomes your everyday. So honestly, as you go through life, there will always be opportunities for things that you're already known for. If you want opportunities for something else, you have to cut free and you have to do your own thing, without anyone expecting that you will succeed or trying to help you. You have to take the risks and make yourself do the things you want to become known for and build the career doing what you want. And following this advice, I'm heavily leaning into it, and I'm taking a complete break from any paid work. to do some of my other life goals. And this is shit because there's a recession and all of my savings aren't really worth much. So life, but I've been researching world records that I can try and break. And my goal is to take 3 to 6 months out and try and break at least 4 world records and document the process. And some of them are going to be silly. Some of them might actually be hard, but my goal is to make a really fun documentary of each one and put them onto YouTube and show people that you can achieve silly or difficult things by pushing yourself. And ultimately in life, you get paid to do the things if you have some credible experience in it. And so I'm always going to find work being able to consult for startups, but that's not the work I want to be doing. So I'm making a hard stop to work on what I feel like is my calling, which is being outside, doing slightly scary, ridiculous adventures, pushing my boundaries. And only once I have a reputation for that could I start getting paid to do these things. And there's no easy offer out there for me where someone will pay me to go and be a nutter. But if I can create a reputation and experience for it, then I can find sponsors who will give me my bike and sponsor my nutrition and things to go and break other world records and other stupid stuff that I feel if I can create a community doing it, my life will be the thing I want it to be. So that's what I'm doing. And I think anyone can have a lot of dreams of what things they want to go and do. And the speed that anyone has ideas is astounding. I mean, remember how many blog ideas I'd came up with, like 130 in 7 months. And that was only part-time. So the point is, you're going to have to make a regular practice or even cut out some of the things in your life to make sure that you actually turn these dreams into action and your ideas become reality. Otherwise, you're just going to be a dreamer. And what I want you to dwell on after this podcast is what things in your life are in the hobbyist dreamer category and you'd actually like to be more professional about. So for all these things, ask yourself the question, what do I need to actually do to become a doer and make these things a reality? What do I need to stop doing to prioritize this? Would something like a change of scenery or a change of my schedule make it easier for me? And what can I regularly commit to going forwards? Personally, I will always be a dreamer. Like, this is part of my nature, but I'm really trying to nudge more of my dreams into reality. One of the reasons I started this podcast. And this episode is my nudge to you to help you go and make your dreams happen. If you want to do something that just seems unrealistic, it probably isn't as difficult as you think it is. It's just going to take some dedication and time. Bloody go and do it. Good luck. You're awesome. Never forget that. Now, make a process, take yourself seriously, and then others will take you seriously also. Thank you very much for listening. Subscribe wherever you like to listen, and a rating is, of course, super appreciated. I mentioned my newsletter. It's called Explosive Thinking. If you want to see more of my writing, it'll be hitting you on the regular, as I mentioned. If you want to connect with me, you can comment on my podcast in podfind.com, and I will get back to any questions there. So on that, go and smash it.